I remember, apologizing for Pelé. Some friends keep asking me to have this signed, and I'm sorry. I go, Wilson, don't worry. I wish I could solve all the problems in the world with my signature. I used to ask him, can you do the Edson Pelé one? He said, Wilson, that's only for the family. I said, so that's me. And eventually, if you put all of that together, and as time goes by, it becomes part of history. Being able to get people to learn and to know about the game from my collection, it's something that brings me a lot of pleasure. Hi, my name is Wilson Egidio, and these are my grails. Growing up in Belo Horizonte, Brazil, I remember playing on the streets, the cardboard streets. And as a matter of fact, the street was like on a hill, and it was very difficult to play. If you mistrap the ball, you had to chase the ball down the hill. And in my neighborhood, I had, for example, at least 4 players in the Brazilian national team futsal. Being Brazilian, that's the stuff that goes from generation to generation, because you go and you see them on movies and on TV and live, and you try to go back and back in your neighborhood and you try to imitate that. Is that a move? Is that a way to walk? I remember at one time I was running like Socrates. I liked the way he moved, so I was imitating that for a while. Now that I look back, and I can see how fortunate I was to be in that environment, to grow up in that environment. One of the best soccer schools in the world. I mean, that's like my university right there. Even school was just like, you go to school because you have to, and then you come back home, you drop your books, and you run to the soccer field. I don't think it's a good thing, but that was the only thing I had in mind. Just being one of the, the players that I mentioned to you, just be one of them. That's how I envisioned myself. That's the only thing pretty much that I lived for. Typical Brazilian soccer, right? But Bar do Dudu, my father had a bar and his name is Dudu. So Bar do Dudu, I asked them to do. This is the supermarket that we used to go buy stuff in a small town. This is my barber, so it's a little special. A friend of mine knew the president of the New York United. So that's where I came in, as a player. There are a few things that was quite different and hard to adjust to. I came here not speaking English. And one day, I wanted to brush my teeth, and my roommate had this, it was a hair product. And I used that as a toothpaste, because I didn't know how to read. All of a sudden, I said, it tastes a little different. I remember that, I say that my neck would get hurt, from moving like this, just looking at the ball going back and forth. It was like up in the air, a lot of long passes. I was used to the ball on the ground. Even as a fan, when I first moved here, there was a show called German Soccer. It was once a week, like on a Wednesday or Thursday. And then even that, for a while, after a while, it stopped, and then there was no soccer at all on TV. That was an adjustment. I liked everything else about New York. Just being exposed to the biggest city in the world, and the theater and everything else that goes with it. This one is game worn, and the way I know that it was worn by him is because I could see his hair inside here, little. Yeah, that's gorgeous. I love that. And that good, in Brazil was wore the Brazilian company Atleta. I think, the first time that I saw him here, and I think I was at Giant Stadium, and I ran into him, and I have a picture of that day. That's how it started, and then all of a sudden, I used to see him 4 or 5 times a year. I always have to pinch myself, is that really Pelé? Is that really him that is cooking for me? I miss him a lot, for who he was as the world figure, but also as a person. He was always very kind, and thanks to him, I have a bunch of Pelé signed stuff, and including 10 shirts. People will give a right arm for one. I have about 10. Yeah.
As an artist or as an art collector, what does it feel like to have basically art that Pelé made?
It's folk art that I love by Pelé, my hero, and the god of soccer. It doesn't get any better than that. right?
Yeah.
So it's special. When I started collecting, it was very hard to find soccer stuff, especially in America. I remember I have like, it's a little thing. It was like a cup, a mug. There's soccer, and then you go, wow, I gotta have that because it's so special and so hard to come by. Not to sound like that I am crazy, nuts. I'd say that I have about 80 originals, but trust me, it's more than that. And being a collector, one of the things that I like is also being close to the artists themselves. I like to see the way different artists express themselves within the same subject. When I commission a piece, and the artist said, "So what do you want me to paint?" I said, "It's up to you." I never come up and say, "Oh, I want this, I want that." Just whatever they come up with. I was just exposed to this guy in Brazil that he paints on cardboard, and Neymar commissioned 70 plus paintings by him, representing each one representing every goal that he scored for the national team. That's one of the things that that I like is on cardboard, very primitive and great stuff. He's a great artist. Well, why is it important to have all of that stuff? For me, I love it. I love looking at it. I like to go back in history through the pieces. The Pelé's 1,000 goal, or, it's Romario 1,000 goal. People can, come in and see something and relate to it and learn from it. The history of the game. Because you want it or not, through the memorabilia, the posters, the movie posters, and the magazines. There's a history of the game right there. I think my goal is to, eventually actually having a space, a permanent space with this, huge amount of art that people can come in and look at it. Soccer and art, for me, comes together. I see soccer as an artistic, form of expression. And that's within the same line, is an artist expressing himself with the brush, and the player expressing himself with the legs. Because as a collector, I don't look at value. I don't look at, for example, a Pelé shirt. I love that I have it. But I know there's a value to it. That's not the reason why I like it, and that's not the reason why I have it. That's the relation right there. Something that is even hard to put on words, because it's something that is ingrained on me. Soccer, as a kid growing up in Brazil, and then art came in. So it's all in the same package, and I love both, and the connection is wonderful.